How we doing, family? It's a great day today. Moving with purpose, moving with intention. I just did half my workout. Went to the park. Um, it's a great day today. I'm happy. I am joyful and appreciative to be in this experience or observing this experience. But yeah, this video is about a question that I asked myself this rising, and I was honestly just going in. I was just going in on this topic with myself, just talking to myself and interpreting it in my perspective. So I asked myself, how can I fully dive into the energy that new beginnings bring into my life, as well as leaving that past version of the ego, him, she, but in this case I put Justin, behind by accepting him for what he could not see or think physically, mentally, or spiritually. Right, so I'm gonna cover both of these questions kind of at the same time. There's no real order for what I'm going to be talking about. But the first key point I wanted to put, the first main idea that I have is a clean diet. Having a clean diet, bro, this car is just coming right around me. Having a clean diet, so when I mean a clean diet, you get the idea, right? Salads, fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, fruits, I said that. Smoothies, juices, fruit juices, things like that. Now, you don't do what works for you. Don't go off of someone else's don't go off of someone else's idea or ideology or perspective, because that may not work for you. You may have iron deficiency and you need to take these iron supplements, whatever the case. Maybe you can't take this or that, whatever. But a clean diet not only brings clarity to the mental, but when you have clarity in the mental, that's when discipline can be created through the clarity. And you gain clarity through the discipline. They go hand in hand. My bad if... Oh, I got a text. It's hot. It's hot in here. I'm in the car right now. The window's down. It's like 97 outside, around that. But anyways. Moving with purpose as well. I say this a lot, moving with purpose, but if you're not moving with purpose, you're not living for you. And this goes into the next main topic. If you're not living for you, who are you living for? What are you doing with your life? You get what I'm saying? So this main point is allowing spirit to guide you by pleasing your spirit over the flesh. When you live life for you and you are clear-minded / high-minded, you live as your future self currently. And you are high-minded above the disguise that we temporarily reside in. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me calm down. I need to get used to looking right here, but it's all good. Right, living life for you. See, when you're eating foods, junk foods, not necessarily junk foods, but yes and no. I mainly mean meat, because meat holds trauma within it. There was, I don't know if it was a video, but it was an article of these people at this turkey processing plant, and they were molesting the chickens. So that's only what's recorded, right? So we don't know what goes on to these animals before they get slaughtered. It's even worse than just getting molested, raped. Obviously, they're scared, they're angry, and that goes into the flesh, that goes into their meat when they die or when they transcend. And then when they get served at the stores, You know, people are eating that, and you wonder why people can't figure themselves out. You wonder why people can't find themselves, or you wonder why people don't know themselves, because they're holding on to this karma that's not theirs. So then that's when you get people who become envious, or allow themselves to become angry, or allow themselves to treat people a certain way, or act a certain way. Basically having that inverted mindset, because that inverted mindset comes from cannibalism or cannibals. Just looking around, just checking to make sure no one's whatever, because I'm in a public space right now, so I'm just, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that inverted mindset, Canaanites from the Bible. I'm reading the Bible right now. I don't have it with me today, but I'm gonna read it later. I've been trying to do Bible study every day, half an hour to an hour. That's what I find works for me right now. Maybe I'll do more soon, maybe less, I don't know. But I covered it in my last video about how Abraham's 2 daughters basically raped their father in the cave. And there was something after that that I didn't cover in the last video that I'm not remembering right now. But cannibals, we still live in those time periods. Cannibals are all around us. Okay. Next, you create your destiny, not the trauma within your vessel. All of these things that I just said, when these things combined, the clean diet, allowing spirit to guide you, pleasing your spirit over the flesh, living life for you, you are destined for greatness beyond the ordinary perception, because being anything besides yourself is limiting. When you think of someone who allows themselves to be easily angered, or allows themselves to be depressed. Now, I'm not saying that these people or beings aren't going through anything, because they are. Obviously, they're going through a lot of shit that they got to deal with. But when you're holding on to karma or meat that has this karma attached to it, you're now bringing that karma within your body, and now you basically got too much dip on your chip. You know what I'm saying? This isn't your trauma, and now this is being brought to you. Now you're gonna be feeling a certain type of way. Now you're gonna be feeling like shit. I had a pan dulce the other day. Actually, it was a while ago. I had a pan dulce, right? So this is all sugar and bread. I felt like throwing up. I really did. I felt terrible. I felt horrible. I felt like I had a hangover the day after when I rose. And I haven't even drank before. So how do I know what a hangover feels like? But yeah, just in living in your truth, being honest with yourself, and the other things that I listed, you are destined for greatness beyond greatness. You are destined for eternal balance. You are destined for eternal growth, everlasting growth beyond the 3rd dimension. I have some tattoos right here. I'm gonna try to show you, but I'm not gonna be able to see what you're gonna be able to see. So hopefully you can see that. I got the Ankh. You probably know what that means. Eternal life. That's what the Ankh means. Or however else you want to define it. Then I have the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus. Yes, I understand that these symbols are backed by Luciferianism and backed by I'll keep it at Luciferianism for now. Or enslavers, or another reflection of ourselves that enslaves the mind. But my interpretation of it, because I have Horus, the moon, the Eye of Ra, the sun, divine feminine, divine masculine, and the eternal life. So my goal daily, and something I realized when I was young, before I even got these tattoos, what I always wanted was to be balanced in my truth. I always wanted to be balanced in my truth for eternity. So, balanced for eternal life. That's how I see that. I never wanted to make problems with people. I always wanted to just spread love and positivity. I want the best for everyone. Now, I did have phases where growing up I had parasites within my mind from an inverted standpoint, or astral leeches in my mind. I remember I allowed myself to have anger issues. I allowed myself to become that angry very easily. And it was honestly because I was upset of my family and the circumstances I was going through during that time. Now seeing that now, little Justin was just wanted to have a normal family. What is a normal family though? You know, everyone has a different family. Everyone has different circumstances. So next. Okay, this one has 2 parts to it, so I'm gonna flip the page and I'm gonna go to it. Building a foundation for your mindset. So, let me not get ahead of myself. Building a foundation for your mindset, okay? So, one way you could do this is having a daily betterment of self journal. That's what I call it, a daily betterment of self. And that's this journal right here. Or you could use a calendar, or even just writing down who you want to become and implementing that into your day or your days. So, daily betterment of self. What I do in this journal daily, I'll write down my goals for that day. So today, I'll go to today and what I want to complete today. What I already completed, because I already see this. I see the vision and I already completed it. I just got to put the work in. And there's almost an accident. So I want to work out today. I want to fast today. I want to create a video today. I'm doing that right now. I've been going into past versions of myself, of habits, and what I tend to do is I'll start scrolling on social media. I'm really trying to stop that. So today I put no more scrolling, only growth. I want to make one clothing idea for my clothing brands. I have been slacking on that. I'm not gonna lie. I've been slacking on this too. I have, but I've also been going through a lot in my personal life with my lifestyle change, and basically what inspired me for my last video idea in envisioning your future self currently. I'm going into van life. You know, it's a whole different lifestyle. So I'm really just I'm really preparing myself for what I've already seen. So what am I preparing for? Spanish. I'm learning Spanish. Affirmations. Written meditation. Some grounding. Shadow work. Bible study. I'm doing that later. Move with love and compassion. Do not fear the mind. So really just reprogramming my mind and how I think and how I go about situations and things that I'll do. For example, something I used to do growing up was when someone would be walking my way, I would go a different way to not cross paths. Now, I'm not afraid of that. I will walk towards them on purpose. I'm not gonna go out my way to walk towards someone, but I'm gonna be walking. I'm gonna be walking where I need to go because I walk with purpose, and I'm not afraid to look them in the eyes and give them a head nod, or ask them how they're doing, or say a hello, or whatever. Learn a new word. Surmise. Surmise was the word I learned today. Now I'm trying to do more than just one. I want to get to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, I want to get back into English class for myself, and I really want to dive into my vocabulary and be able to express myself on a deeper level through the English language and through Spanish too. So surmise. Surmise means to think something is true without having evidence to confirm it. So you could say physically we surmise a higher power that's within ourselves. I feel like you could use that for that explanation. Right? But okay, that's my daily betterment of self journal. And it's like a video game. Life is a video game. You continuously want to get better. All right, so then I wrote for, remember, we're talking about building a foundation for your mindset. Skills. That could be if you want to go to college, if you want to take an online course. And discipline for yourself. Do what works for you. You don't have to get up early, as in 3 a.m., 4 a.m., but at least get up before the sun rises, or get up when the sun rises, to be ahead of society. Now, understand that things do happen sometimes. Sometimes you may not be able to be as disciplined as you want to, although that could be an excuse in some instances, but sometimes things happen, right? No one's perfect. Next, you want to be open to it and not fear it. You want to be open to that new version of yourself. You want to be open to that future version of yourself. You don't want to be scared of it. If you're living through the ego, if you're living through survival mode, you're going to be scared of what's to come. You're going to be scared of change because you don't know what it looks like. But growing up as a baby with that childlike mindset, you don't know nothing because you're running fully off the ego. But you're allowing your childlike self to flourish in its environment. So an example of this could be, well, you know, you do get to a point to where you start gaining consciousness little by little, and my example was going to be how kids don't like vegetables, but that's also something that's kind of programmed into televisions through occultic orders. So you say yes and no on that. But the example I was going to give was, I don't know exactly right now, but there's certain, or the name of the disorder, but there's certain disorders that people place within their minds to not like certain textures, or to not like certain foods, or not to do certain actions. You're allowing that to happen. You've thought about this so much that it's became true. You can do that. And that's why it's good to be it's good to be delusional, because delusion, when you're delusional in your reality, you are able to now create that reality for what you want. So you can tell yourself, I want to be ripped. I want to have 100 subscribers. I want to have 200 subscribers. I want to have 1,000 subscribers. I want to have this and this and this and this and this to help me get to my goals, or whatever the case may be. But you got to put in the work in also, right? This next one: exit survival mode and open yourself up to how much better life can be. Exit the disguise placed upon your mind. Bills, jobs, politics, streamers, sports, YouTube, more streaming platforms, social media, and that whole hive-minded mindset of just not only consumerism, but trying to keep up with what can't be kept up with. I'm talking about the ego. But that's what I was just kind of talking about, exiting survival mode, knowing that you're going to be okay, knowing that you're in control, knowing that you are the one that controls the mind. Yes, you may get outside influence, but you are the one who decides what's allowed and what's not allowed. You are the one who gives the deciding factor. People think what they know is all they need to know, and is all that is known, and is the truth, when that can only be as far as the truth from what the truth actually is, when there is no truth and it's all lies. Now there is truth in lies, but if we are verbally communicating, there's gonna be some lies in that, because everybody has their own truth. No truth is the same. What I like and what works for me practicing spirituality may not work for you. Bits and pieces may work for you, but this is when you use discernment on my practices, or their practices, or her practices, or his practices, and you take bits and pieces and implement it into your daily routine in your days of the week, and you find what works for you, and you put that together in your truth. You get it? I hope so. But people maneuvering through the ego, a saying that I like. Physically, we know nothing, but spiritually, we know everything. Physically, we know nothing. Physically, we are born into this Luciferian satanic realm, if you want to call it that. And we are thrown into the fire, basically. We are thrown into, there's an image of a being handing their child to this false god called Moloch. That's what we are in daily. From our parents handing over to Moloch. Unconsciously, unknowingly doing that though. Not consciously, although there are some beings that do that consciously. In their truth, unconsciously. And that's when you get into the child sex trafficking realms and fast food chains serving human flesh, human meats, and all other types of things within that. Giving time to yourself is the best and most loving thing you can do for yourself. As many times as I'm gonna say that, yes it is. Yes it is. And you wanna know why? I'm gonna tell you. Because when you give time to yourself, you are giving time to if you want to call it the almighty creator, if you want to call it your higher self, if you want to call it your highest self, if you want to call it that omnipresent energy within you, within me and you, all around us, you now are giving time to that energy. You now are giving time to that energy. And when you do that, you create space within your mind for that. You create that space within your mind for your higher self to be like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see you wanna grow. I see you wanna become better. Okay, let me implement this thought into your mindset. Let me drop that in there. What are you gonna do with that now? Now it's up to you or me to take that thought, take that envisionment of your future self and walk towards that in your truth. Okay, so let's say you envision yourself becoming a mechanic. You envision yourself getting a degree in horticulture. You envision yourself becoming the best author. You envision yourself becoming an athlete. How are you maintaining that image within your mind through your actions? You feel what I'm saying? Old habits, people, places that don't serve you have to go. But be thankful for what that person, place, or thing showed you through the lesson you had to learn through them for yourself. Everything, everyone is connected spiritually through you. Like I said, omnipresent. But yeah, if you want to grow into a better way of being, you have to leave that past version of yourself behind. And the ego will try to hold on to that. That's why the ego doesn't like change. That's why the ego wants to be in its comfort zone. That's why the ego wants to stay like this, because that's all it knows. That's all it knows to be safe. But there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear from growth, because when you step into growth, you step into that mindset of growth and what it brings to you. You are now connected to your higher self. Your higher self is never going to steer you in the wrong direction. It's always going to steer you in the way that you need to learn from. If you need to learn this lesson, if you need to learn not to get stepped over, if you need to learn to not please people or pleasing people pleasing, if you need to learn how to stick up for yourself, your higher self is going to shove you in that direction. It's going to shove you with care and love and compassion. It's not gonna shove you to the wolves type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna shove you gracefully, and it's up to you how you react, how you respond to that situation, and how you alchemize that energy of that situation into a betterment for yourself. Okay, so let's say a situation pops up, and you now have grown from that situation. You now learn from that situation. That past self is no longer there because you've been through the situation now. Now you're going to take this energy from this situation, alchemize it into your being for today, tomorrow, the next day, and so on and so forth. Old habits. Smoking. If you smoke just to smoke, and if you don't smoke to use it in some type of way for your creativeness or for working out or any type of betterment, if you're not using it for that, it's harming you and you're distracting yourself. You're pillowing your emotions. I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying that could be the case. You could be pillowing your emotions. You could be pillowing a certain trauma that you've dealt with. You might have started smoking from trauma. You might have started smoking from a past situation, and now it's just dived deep into this habit that it is now. speaking from personal experience, I used to smoke every day. I used to smoke all the time, to the point to where I would be high around my family. Now when I smoke, unless I smoke too much because I'm slowly getting off of smoking weed, here and there I do it. But here and there when I do it, let's say I overdo it. Now I'm so high that I overthink, and it gives me a slight form of anxiety. But that's only when I drink. That's only when the few times that it's happened where I take too many edibles to the point to where I'm getting close to greening out, or I drink one of those 100 milligram juices or drinks. I only did that one time. One time where I had a lot. And it was probably 20 milligrams, 25 milligrams that I drank out of the 100. And I was gone. I had some crazy greening out stories. I have one where I locked myself in the bathroom. I have another one where, anyways, that's another video topic. But the last key point that I have, the last main idea that I have, is the ego is scared of what it doesn't know. And this is, I put survival mode right next to it in quotations. So it will stay in a comfort zone, not allowing itself to grow spiritually. What's the worst thing that can happen if you try something new? What's the worst thing that can happen if you tell someone, or if you ask someone how their day is going? What's the worst thing that can happen if you tell someone, oh, I like your hair, oh, I like your shirt, oh, I like your jacket, I like your tattoos, I like your smile, I like your face? What's the worst thing that can happen from you stepping out of your comfort zone? Think logically about it. What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen from you giving someone or a houseless person some change? What's the worst that could happen from you helping someone out? So, a situation that happened to me, or that happened to my ego. This older person's carts, a motorized cart, it stopped working, and so they asked me if I could push them into where the charger was at that store, and I did that. I went out of my way to do that because it does me no harm. It does me no harm to help someone out. It does me no harm from going out my way to help someone. If anything, all that does is elevate you. All that does is put you on your path in a greater position. All that does is benefit you. So why not do it? Why laugh at someone for falling? Why laugh at someone for making a mistake? Because if you were in their shoes, you wouldn't want that to happen. So, where's the common sense in that? That's why y'all need to stop, That's why beings need to understand what they're eating affects how they live. What you consume in your temple affects how you perceive this thing called reality, or this video game called life. Alright? I hope you've been doing your affirmations. I hope you've been envisioning your future self for today, for tomorrow, for the next day. Because when you do that, it's like you beat the game. And when you beat the game, now we're constantly growing. So beating the game from the mindset standpoint, because everything is the mindset. Beating the game, you're fasting, you're alchemizing experiences to the betterment of yourself. You're learning from experiences. We're constantly learning and growing. So nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that. But you are enjoying life because you understand what you came here to do. You understand your purposes. You understand that there is more meant for you than just what is seen in the physical. You move with love and compassion. You're confident in yourself. If you're a man, you have bass in your voice. If you're a woman, you move with your femininity through balance, through the masculine and the feminine energies, divine energy counterparts. Men as well. That's why I have this tattoo, like I said earlier. But just take care of yourselves. Work out. Go for a walk. Hug a tree. Touch a tree. Ground yourself. That's it. Love y'all. Peace. Take care of yourselves.